Yeah, okay, you're already
Yeah,
recording, right? Okay, okay.
recording session now. So what white hackers generally do, they simply find the flaw or find a bug, vulnerability, whatever you call. They simply find the bug, report to the company. Just give me a minute.
Your voice is low, Siddharth. Hello. Hello, Siddharth.
Hello.
Can't hear you, Siddharth. Can't hear you.
Yeah, am I audible now?
Yeah, you're audible now. Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. Maybe network issue was there. So what white hackers generally do, they simply find the flaw. They will not exploit the bug. They will not deface the company. They will not harm the company. They will not harm the organization. They simply report to the company. They simply report to the organization part for their benefit and for company's benefit, both of them. When they report a bug to a company, the company will simply award them some kind of bounty. It could be it could be in form of money. It could be in form of some kind of swags. We call it swags. Like they can send you some kind of thing like watches, some kind of gift like T-shirts, their bags. We call them swags. Okay? So reward could be anything. It could be proper money form. It could be in a swag form. It depends on the flow. What white hackers simply do, they report the bug and they get bounties for them, or reward for them. Clear? So
Yeah,
after
clear.
this white hat and black hat hacker, can anyone explain what is penetration testing? What are the different phases of penetration testing? Who does this penetration testing? What are the different teams in penetration testing? Anyone have any idea?
No, Siddharth. For us, I mean, for me, it's no.
Okay, and what about others?
No,
Number
Sidhu.
one.
Yeah, we are very new to this.
Okay, so as a white hat hacker, when you have proper legal contract with a company to perform some kind of penetration testing over the network, over the system, over the web applications, then we call it penetration testing. If you have a proper legal contract with the company, okay. If you are not doing with the legal contract, if you are just penetrating into the systems or trying to hack into the systems, then you are as a black hat hacker. But if you have proper contract with the company, then you are a white hat hacker. In penetration testing, we have three teams. Let me show you. So in PT part, we have three teams. First one is red team. Red team act as a hacker, as an external hacker, whose intention was to penetrate the system and to harm the system. Okay. Second one we have is a blue team. What was the actual functionality of the blue team? Was to stop the red team to implement the security patches to prevent this hack. We call them blue team. That's clear. What is red team? What is blue team?
Okay, got it, got it.
So after this part, we have two more terms here. We have different type of penetration testings as well. Like okay, we were done with the teams who will done the penetration testing. But what type of penetration testing they were doing? We have two types as well. If I tell you, then we have two types as well. First one is black box testing. Second one is white box testing. Anyone have any idea what is black box testing? What is white box testing?
Black box is what the developer will do, and the white box is something it is an UAT, user testing.
Sorry.
Works, you will have information about the company. I mean, the basic informations.
Yeah. In white hat, you have the information about the company. What are the network structure? What are the network address? What are the devices working inside the network of companies? You have information about the companies. Okay. The company who hire you for the penetration testing part, they give you the information for that part, right? If you are doing white box testing, you have the information from the company that this is my network. You have to scan this network, scan the machine for the non flaws or non vulnerabilities, whatever term you are using. But in black box testing, they will simply hire you. You act as a penetration tester or act as an actual hacker, penetrate the system. You don't know about anything. You don't know about the network structure. You don't know about the devices. implemented or deployed inside the network. You don't know about anything. You have to do it yourself. You have to penetrate network yourself. You have to crack the systems yourself. Okay? If you don't know about anything about the structure, about the network, about the system, about the configuration, about the company's part, then it was a black box testing. If you have information about the company given by the company itself, then it was a white box testing. Clear? Yeah. After this, we have some common terms we generally gonna use in this course or throughout the, or we generally use in the field of cyber security. So the first one is vulnerability. So who will explain me the vulnerability? What is vulnerability? Anyone have any idea about this part?
We can say loopholes in the system.
Then what is zero day?
So it's unknown vulnerability, unknown patches or unknown threat, which has not been, we don't have patches for that. We don't have antivirus for that. It's a new, virus.
Yeah, perfect. If we have a known flow and we have security updates for the flow, we call it a vulnerability. And if we have a new flow, we don't have any security updates for that flow. We don't have any kind of security checks for security mitigations we have. If we don't have any security updates for that flow or the vulnerability, then it was a zero day. A newly known flow, newly discovered flow or newly discovered vulnerability, we call it a zero day. Right? Or any known flow, any previously known flow was a vulnerability. What about exploit? I have two terms here. Exploit. Any idea what is exploit? Before exploit, let me explain one more thing. What is payload?
Payload, the data, what actual data is transferring through the internet or network. So when the data is considered as a payload, actual data, not a header of data. I mean packet information. The actual data is called as payloads.
In the field of cybersecurity, the malicious script or the malicious code you have written for the exploitation part, the malicious script you have written to exploit the machine, to hack the machine, to perform any kind of malicious activity on that machine was payload. Okay? A combination of payload and
Come
a
again.
vulnerability.
I'm sorry, Siddharth, come again.
Any malicious script you have written to exploit the system, or the script you have written to exploit the vulnerability in the system was payload.
Okay.
Yeah, the source code you have written to exploit the vulnerability inside a system was payload. If I give you example, so let's search for Windows like ms17-010. Let me search for this part. I have verified vulnerability. That was Eternal Romance, Eternal Blue, whatever it was. Okay, if I show you, if I scroll down, you can see the code, right? That was my payload to that vulnerability. What was the vulnerability? Vulnerability exists in the SMB version 1. I hope you have any idea about Vault 7 release. You guys have any idea about Vault 7 release? Hello.
No.
No idea.
Okay. So Vault 7 was the tools or the proper zip file of a tool or a bunch of tools used by the NSA till 2017. In 2017, a group of hackers came, which was short shadow brokers, I think. Shadow brokers. Shadow broker was the group of hackers who hacked the NSA and leaked all the tools used by the NSA to spy on the systems, spy on the people's, normal people's, spy on the agencies, spy on the private companies, spy on these networks, whatever it was. They can spy on everyone. Vault 7 was the tools leaked by the shadow brokers, which were used by the NSA to spy on the peoples. They used to spy on peoples.
What is NSA? What is NSA?
National Security Agency.
So I mean, they tried to attack the National Agency Security.
Yeah, they hack their systems.
Okay,
They
okay.
get those tools and they make them public. The release was Vault 7 release.
So these are they are the you know finding those vulnerability, and they release these tools which are used for hacking. Huh?
NSA already has these tools. They are hacking these tools to hack the systems of any company, any machine. If I give you a better example, so uh, I hope you're aware about this ransomware, WannaCry,
Yes.
right? So
Yes, yes.
WannaCry ransomware was working on the same vulnerability on SMB version 1. WannaCry came after this Vault 7 release. So the NSA already has these tools. They were simply just hacked by the shadow brokers, the group of hackers they have. They call it shadow broker. They simply hack the NSA servers or the data centers, and they release these tools to public part. Okay. So you can go through this link. I will give you the link just in the chat. So we were discussing what is payload, right?
Can you explain me
Payload.
about WannaCry here in detail, please?
Okay. So WannaCry was the ransomware to simply encrypt your file, encrypt your systems, and ask you for the ransom and some kind of extortion money. You say when you pay the ransomware or when you pay the ransom money or the extortion money, they'll give you the simply decryption key. I hope you're familiar with the encryption part.
Yeah.
So they simply encrypting your files.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. So that was the payload or the code written to exploit this vulnerability inside SMB version 1, right? Combination of vulnerability and a payload. We call it a proper exploit. So I have vulnerability for SMB service. I have payload for that part. What I have to do, I simply exploit the machine by using this default payload we have. Simple, right? So one more thing after these exploit, payloads, vulnerability, and 0 days, you have any idea about deep web, surface web, and dark web?
Yeah, yes, yes, yes. Which is
So
having some kind of a public
could you
data.
elaborate it? Yeah, could you elaborate?
Yeah, because it is not available in internet, but with some kind of a virtual networks or private VPNs, we can able to access that via some kind of an URLs.
Okay, that was the dark web part. Then what is deep web?
Things are interconnected, but these things we can't access in a public URL. Actually, these things are getting monitored. Because it
I
is
yeah
not a public data, which is not intentional to see everyone, but we can see.
yeah.
Yeah, in
Only
some other
authorized
way.
person can see the data. You
Yeah.
have to authenticate yourself to see the data,
Yes, yes.
not available to the public. That was the deep web part. And the surface web, all the information you can see with the help of simple search engines was a part of surface web.
Can you elaborate, Siddharth? I can't hear him actually. What he said. I mean,
So when you search here simply for any profile, let me see, search for my profile on Facebook. Okay, everything you can see on this search engine, you can search with the help of search engine. Any information, all the information you see here on the search engine was the part of surface web, which is available to the public, or the part of information which is available to the public, or which search engine can crawl, was simply known as surface web. this, we have 5 phases of hacking. So any idea? You can go for one more thing. Blockage.
Siddharth, what is gray box? We have white box and black box. What is gray box?
In gray box, you have some little bit information. Something lies between black and a white. You only have little bit information about the system, about the infrastructure of the company, about the network of the company. They will only give you little bit information about that part. It was the gray box testing.
Can you tell me about dark web and deep web in detail?
Yeah. So if you have to authenticate yourself for some kind of information, okay, that was the deep web part, right? But if you have to use a special tool, or if you have to use some kind of VPN to access some kind of websites, like you can simply use google.com on the simple browser. But if I say you have to use Tor to access a specific website which have some extensions like .onion, okay, they don't have .com, they don't have .edu, .in, .gov, nothing else. They only have .onion as their extensions. That kind of websites were only accessed with the help of the Tor browser, the Onion router we call it. There was a part of dark web. Because of the security of the Tor browser or the Onion routing protocols, it's harder for almost every one of us to identify the actual user who was trying to browse the website, right?
We will only get the IPs and all, right? But not the detailed information. We will get the IPs based on sets, right?
If you go in depth part, you can get the IPs, but it's hard to find the actual machine of the user. Hard to find the actual user here because they follow the Onion routing protocols in which your connection is bypassed through the connection
People.
follow the hello.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, that's good if you got it. So Lockheed Martin kill chain. So I was asking, what was 5 pages of hacking? Anyone have any idea about the 5 pages of hacking? Okay, so let me explain you. In hacking, we have simply 5 pages. The first one is recon part, in which you collect all the information available on the public side about the target. We call it recon, we call it footprinting, we call it information gathering. Whatever you call, the point was to collect all the information available on the public side about the target. Clear? After this recon, we have something for scanning part, to scan the network, to scan the machine for their flaws, for their vulnerabilities, what other services are running on the victim side, what ports were open, are they vulnerable, not, they're vulnerable or they're vulnerable not, whatever it was. The second one we have is scanning. After scanning, we have something called gaining access about the after the scanning phase. In this phase, we gain the access of the machine. We found the flow, or we enumerate the machines, right, in the scanning phase. But we will gain access in our this phase, gain access. After gaining access, what we do, we have to maintain the access. We have to create a persistent connection, a persistent backdoor kind of thing. That was our maintaining access phase. Maintain access. And the most important phase was clearing logs to hide their identity. Right?
So clearing logs. What is the losses? Clearing logs.
Those clearing logs. For every activity you perform on a system, we have records, we have logs. If you make a connection with the system, your IP address, your protocols, your port numbers, the time you establish a connection, the time you disconnect the connection, everything was logged. If I give you a simple example of the Windows machine, just write EVT or event viewer, and you can see the logs for your machine. You can see log for the applications. You can see log for the security part. You can see log for system part, whatever it was. You can see logs here. So hacker always have to clear the logs or to manipulate the logs just to hide their identity, just to be anonymous from after the hack. Clear the tracks.
Got it. Got it.
Yeah. They don't want to go jail. No one wants to go jail. Those are five. Sorry. These are the 5 phases of hacking. First one is reconnaissance or information gathering phase, which you collect all the information available on the public domains about the target. After this, we have scanning phase, in which you scan the network, scan the machines for the known flaws, for open services, open ports, their vulnerabilities about these services, their protocols they are following, their versions they are working on, and other different things. After scanning phase, you have to hack the system. You have to gain access of the system. And there was our third phase, gaining access. After gaining access, our first thing the hacker do was maintaining their access, create a persistent backdoor on the victim side, so they can take a back connection or reverse connection again whenever they want. Right after maintaining access and gaining access part, when the motive was complete, they have to clear the logs, clear all the tracks, clear all the activities, clear all the tracks for the activity they are performed. Right, and the most important phase was clearing logs. So any query in this part? 5 phases of hacking.
Yeah,
Hello.
Siddharth. Yeah, Siddharth. Yeah. Nice.
Yeah. So after this, let's go over some kind of attack vectors for a hacker. Like what vulnerabilities or the what surfaces hackers were targeting right now. Like what flaws they're attacking on mostly. So I hope you're aware about the data breach. Yesterday we have data breach on Nissan. Any idea about that part?
No, can you explain?
No, no.
Okay. For that part, you can go for the hacker news. You can follow these pages for updates. You can simply search on the Google. So anyone have any idea what is CIA tried? What is information security pyramid or the pillars? We call it CIA tried. The confidentiality, integrity, and availability part. No one.
Sorry, come again, Sita.
What is CIA tried? The confidentiality, integrity, and availability.
Okay, okay, okay.
Confidential
Okay,
integrity
see. Yeah.
and then availability, right?
Authenticity.
Yeah, authenticity, availability, whatever you say. So could you elaborate these things? What is CIA tried?
Confidentiality. I mean, we'll start with integrity. Integrity, which means when we are sending a file to any recipient from source to destination, make sure that the data is moving to the right destination. Or if you are entering to any browser or any website, make sure that you are getting a legitimate website. Okay, that is integrity. Confidentiality, something you are um, if you're having a data which is moving out from the network, so it's vulnerable. Like if it is a very sensitive data, you have to be aware of that. So that is a confidentiality. Availability, which means keeping the machine on, like it is a server, online application server. The server should be available at all.
Yeah, perfectly. So the
Siddharth,
confidentiality, yeah,
can I can I can I explain? A confidential something like whoever is authentic, whoever is intention to see the data, see the data. That is confidentiality, and integrity is something like the data should be unchanged. It should be uh, means only the intention by to change the data, and it should be in the sense it is not get modified by any other third party without any authorization. And availability in the sense it can be available for the authentic users.
okay, that was a
Hello.
perfect. Yeah, hello.
Yes. Yes.
So you want to say something?
That's it. That's it. Yeah.
Okay. So you both were right. Confidentiality means the information we have should only be available to the authentic person. No unauthorized person should be able to access that information. That was the confidentiality. Then what is integrity? Integrity ensures the information we have should only be accessible to the authorized person, but should not be modified as well. Integrity ensures the information we have should not be modified by unauthorized person. Okay. Then we have availability. Availability ensures the information we have should be confidential, should follow integrity, and should be available whenever it was required. Clear? Hello.
Yeah,
I hope
clear.
it's clear. Yeah, CIA tried. So, can you name any of the attacks on CIA tried? Any of the attack you know about the confidentiality, which will affect the confidentiality of a system or a person? Any attack on confidentiality? Any attack?
No, no.
Data breaches? Simple example: data breach. Any attack on availability?
Okay.
DDoS.
Something DDoS. DDoS. Yeah.
Yeah, DOS,
Definitely.
DDoS, perfect. And integrity part? Any attack on integrity?
Integrity, can say phishing, right?
Different than phishing.
Modifying the websites actually. There are like,
That could be a attack on integrity, modifying websites. Let's take a simple example of integrity. Suppose MITM attack, the man in the middle. I hope you are aware about this
yeah, yeah,
MITM attack.
yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
It was
Correct.
a simple example of integrity attack. You can alter the packets going through your network. You can modify, you can analyze the packets, right? That was simple attack on integrity, MITM, right? Then let's talk about some attack vectors
Okay.
where hackers were focusing right now.
Sorry, confidential. What is the attack name for integrity? Okay,
That was
MITM.
yeah,
Data breach.
a
Data
simple
breach.
data breach.
Okay.
A data breach was simple example of a confidentiality attack. Attack on confidentiality. We have taken example of the
Got it. Got it.
Vault 7 part. You can take example of this NASA data breach we followed yesterday.
Talking about Nissan, right? What happened last day?
Hackers simply access the system and they publicly available they publicly publish the data. 1.1 million customers. You should follow these pages like Hacker News and other pages we
So,
have.
any
So
idea what did they did? Like, it's like all CAT, or like they did only confidentiality.
We did only
data breach
confidentiality.
always affect all these three things.
All three: integrity,
All
availability,
integrity, available. Yeah, data breach always affect all these three things.
Okay.
So you can take some more example of data breach. Like I hope you remember about Yahoo. Yahoo data breach. It was one of the most popular data breach. Yahoo data breach started in 2013, and till 2017, Yahoo accepted all the data they have was leaked. All the data for about 2 billion customers was leaked. That's why no one uses Yahoo nowadays. Everyone is shifting from Yahoo to Gmail. Yahoo data breach was one of the simple or one of the biggest data breach we have. Or if you are familiar with this FireEye data breach. Any idea?
Yeah, recent sunburst attack on SolarWinds.
Yeah, in December.
Yeah, in 13 December, it attacked on US.
Yeah, that was because of the SolarWinds
Yeah,
application
SolarWinds
files.
application. Yeah, they did the injection of malicious code in the download folders and
Yeah,
download files.
yeah, perfect. So simple data breach affect all these three things: availability, confidentiality, and integrity. Because the hackers can modify the data they have, they can publish the data, which will affect the confidentiality part, and they can delete the data if they want, which will also affect on the availability.
So what do you call it as CIA? It's a mechanism, or what do you call it as?
We call it CIA triad, simple information security pillar, or you can say it's CIA triad.
Okay, okay.
The confidentiality, integrity, and availability. It's better to call it CIA triad, or you can represent as information security pillars. The confidentiality, integrity, and availability. You can use any of these terms. It the security pillar or the CIA triad. It's up to you. After that CIA triad, we have one more term here. That was non-repudiation. Any idea what is non-repudiation?
The creator doesn't deny the creation. That's right.
Okay.
The creator doesn't deny the creation of the item. Means if he is the intended person who do the transaction, but he denied that because it is done by some other person, man in the middle.
Exactly. A person who performed some kind of actions, he or she can't deny for that action. Let's take your example, perfect example. A person A sends some money, like $500 to some person B. Then person B can't say, I never received that money, because we have proofs for that money. Security account or the bank account details we have as a proof. The person B can't say he never received the money sent by the person A, person B. There was no reputation. Person A can't deny that he was not the person who sent money to person B, right? So no reputation ensured. Person can't deny that for the actions he or she performed on their side. So can't deny for the actions happened on their side. Clear about non-reputation?
I mean, now your voice is not clear. It's a what do you say? A repetition.
It was that was non-reputation.
Non-repudiation, yeah.
Non-reputation. Person can't deny for the actions happened on their side, for the actions performed by him or them, whatever they are.
Okay, clear.
All the activities performed or the happened on their side was, they can't deny for that actions. Simple terms. They can't deny for this actions.
Can I
Because
give an Arus, can I give an example?
you can give example.
Yeah, please, please, please.
Yeah, what happened is you are having a bank account and some transaction is done for 500 and that is done by you only. If you deny that, means that is done by some other person. It is a fraud transaction, right? That is a non-repudiation. Your account is responsible. You have to take care of it. If you say that transaction is done not done by me, then it's a non-repudiation. Means you can't say that transaction is not done by me because it is intended that it is done by you only. If you 5,000 is drawn from your account, that is your responsibility, not in your responsibility. That is done by you only, right? No other person can do that ideally. But if it is done, then it is a fraud. Then it is no, again it's the non-repudiation.
Got it. Got it. Got it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's clear now?
Yeah, very clear. Yeah.
Yeah, perfect. So let's discuss some attack phases for the hacker where they can simply attack. So the favorite thing where hackers were focusing on websites. They simply found the flaw about the websites and for scope for most popular attacks, you can go for the OWASP. I hope you're aware about this OWASP attacks. OWASP often about the web applications for the mobiles, for the IoT devices. I hope you're aware about OWASP.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
OWASP.
Sorry. No, I don't. I don't have idea.
Just give me a minute. Take a minute.
Yeah, these are the 10 major steps we need to take care of before having any website or mobile or IoT. These are the 10 security things we should follow. This is some kind of a standards you will get in OAC.
Exactly.
Yeah.
These are the 10 most popular attacks where hackers were focusing, for which a developer should be focused to prevent or to try to prevent these kind of attacks. Let me give you an example
You
for that
mean
part.
steps to exploit?
No, kind of attacks hackers were doing. Injection part, SQL injection, no SQL injection, OS injections, LDAP injections, or the kind of injections are the most popular attacks or
Yes.
hackers were performing on the machines. Like if I give you example of MITM, right? IDOR, sensitive data exposure. They're just the kind of exploit, kind of attacks hackers were performing on the machines, on the server part. Where security analysts should be aware about these attacks. They should implement the security checks to prevent these attacks, right? So OWASP give you the list of top 10 attacks. But if you want to go for more attacks, you can follow Sense 25 as well. Sense give you a list of 25 attacks. Okay, one more thing I have to tell you. There was CVE and CWE. If you see here, we have a CVE value for that exploit, Eternal Blue, Eternal Romance, Eternal Synergy, Eternal Champion. That was. We have a CVE value. We have two terms here. The first one was CVE. Let me write here. Yeah, that was CVE. CVE stands for Common Vulnerability Exposure. What it means, whenever you find a flaw for any software, for any hardware, it could be software, it could be a firmware, whatever it was. Whenever you find a flaw for anything, you report that flaw, company will release the patch for that flaw. Clear? Every security flaw
What
have
is
a
what does it mean? Like flow in the sense if you have a
you have a
Windows.
vulnerability. You have a
Not a
vulnerability.
flow. It is a flaw. Flaw. Correct, right? Flaw.
Let's call it flaw.
Yeah.
You can call it flaw, you can call it flaw, you can call it vulnerability. It's up to you. You can call it a bug as well. So whenever you get a bug, whenever you find a bug inside any software, let's take example of this VMware. Okay, you find a bug in VMware, you simply report the bug to the company. They release security update or security patch for that bug. Okay, the bug you find for this VMware have a CVE value. The specific bug for this VMware was identified by the CVE value, the common vulnerability exposure number. To every flow, we give a number that was the CVE number. CVE number starts with the year of the identification, when the bug was identified. Right? Every year, CVE number starts from 0 and it goes on till 31st December. If I give you example, let's take nvd.nist.gov. This is one of the platform where you can find the vulnerabilities. You can report the vulnerabilities. If you see here, CVE for 2020 for the last year, it was 15221. You see at just below this one, you can see 2020 26712. Means we have found 26,721 for the 12712 flaws for the bugs in 2020. I hope it's clear what is CVE. Every bug we found for a software have a unique CVE value for its identification. We call it
Uh,
CVE number.
okay, it is having the prefix of year, and there is no month related to it.
No, it only have a year. There is no
Okay.
month. Every year number starts from the 0 and it goes on. Okay. Other than CVE, if I simply click on this CVE number 2020 26712 and I scroll down, I have a CWE number. What CWE means? What was the bug? You found a bug for a software. Okay. Bug for the software was identified by the CVE number. But what was the bug? What was the actual bug you have found inside the software? The bug was recognized or identified by the CWE number. CW stands for Common Weakness Enumeration. The weakness you have identified inside a software, inside anything, any firmware, any hardware. What was the weakness? Weakness was identified by the CWE number. Okay. Suppose you have two applications, you have two softwares. First one is Firefox, second one is VMware. Right? You found the same flaw. Let's take the example of this improper utilization of special elements. But you can say simple example of SQL injection part. Okay? You found some kind of injection in this VMware and Zoom. Let's take example of Zoom and VMware. Okay? You found the same flaw in Zoom. You found the same flaw in VMware. For both of them, CVE number will be different, but CWE number will be the same number. CWE will be same, CVE will be different because the flow was same, but for what software the flow was different. I hope it's clear.
No, you mean to say like once the vulnerability is identified, what was the vulnerability, then they will assign CWE, and depends on the product they will assign CVE, correct?
What was the flow was CWE.
Okay.
For what software or when it was identified simply tells you about CVE number. You can identify the flow with the help of CVE number, for what application the flow was, when it was identified. You will get this kind of information about this from the CVE number. But what was the flow? You can identify this information from the CWE. What was the flow was CWE. For what application the flow was and when it was identified was CVE. Weakness or the vulnerability. Two terms we have here. I hope it makes sense.
Yeah, it's
CVE and
making sense.
CWE.
So whenever we got a vulnerability, so we are going to assign to like a number to that, and maybe the vulnerability may be common for in Zoom or VMware. That should be the common for CWE. It is
Yeah,
a
exactly.
okay.
The vulnerability was same in Zoom and VMware. Okay, but the software were different, right? Zoom is different, VMware is different. for both of them, CVE number will be different, but the flow was same, SQL injection. For SQL injection, we have a unique value, CWE89.
Got
For
it, got
all,
it. That's what I was asking. This is what depends on the product. They will release the CV, correct? Identifying this patches and they'll release.
yeah, it depends on the product or the hardware, firmware, whatever it was. Other than these two terms, CVE and CWE, we have two more terms to know. That was CVSS.
Come again, CV.
CVSS. You can see here CVSS score or CVSS version 3.x. Let me zoom it. I hope it's visible now.
Yes, yes.
CVSS version. CVSS will simply tell you how impactful the flow was. Is it harmful? Is it simple, normal flow? Is it very critical flow? The impact of the flow was known by the CVSS score. As you can see here, 9.8. CVSS range from 0 to 10. Higher the value, higher the impact, higher the criticality. Right? We have two versions. First one is 2.0 and second one is 3.x. Version 2 has three values only. So three categories for the flow. First one is low category, then medium category, and high category. But in version 3, we have five categories. None category, it means it was a bug, but it's not impactful. Right? Second one is low, then medium, then high, and the most one was critical. Let me tell you.
Sorry, Siddharth, what is in the right side source Maitri?
Sorry,
Maitri, what is Maitri?
there is
On the
white.
right side, right side. Yeah, the source.
There was the source. The
No,
base
right side.
score.
No, right side. Right side, right side. Yeah. Source is
Source
Maitri.
Mitre.
Yeah, that's right. We call it as
Mit,
Maitri, right?
I call it Mitre. You can call it Maitri.
Yeah. Here
It's
in
up to you.
UAE, yeah. Okay.
Mitra is simple website for a simple organization who manage all the flows. So I have shown you two of them. Mitre, NVD or Mitre, NIST, ExploitDB, they all manage the database for the vulnerabilities. Mitre was one of them who manage the database for non-vulnerabilities. Mitre has their own products. If you go for something like Metasploit, okay, Metasploit was developed by Mitre, but now it's handled by Rapid7. Is a company who is handling or who is publishing updates for the Metasploit tool. We have multiple databases here. NVD, Mitre, Rapid7 has its own database for the vulnerabilities. ExploitDB has its own database. Search on the Google for vulnerability database.
You mean to say it's a threat intelligence platform, like having a vulnerability database?
Mitre has its database. So if you see here, source was Mitre. It means the flow was released by the Mitre. The article here, the information here was taken from the Mitre. The
Got
source
it.
was
Got it.
Mitre. Mitre was the organization who released or who what we call it, who reports the flow to the nvd.nist.gov. Right? NVD NIST was the organization. I hope you about this NIST. It was a complete organization in US to give you some kind of security standards. The security standards or the encryption standards we follow are all what we call it, all suggested by NIST or all published by NIST. The encryption method we follow like AES, right? AES was supported by NIST, which was the organization who, what we call it, the NIST published the standard for the encryption part. And AES was one of the encryption protocol, encryption algorithm NIST to use for the encryption, or NIST to specify every company to use for the encryption part. You can use any encryption methods, but NIST specify you can use AES. Because AES is one of the most secure encryption methods we have. You can use in a real life. Before AES, we generally use DES, like data encryption standard. But right now, we use AES, which is advanced encryption standards. NIST was the organization simple. Rapid7 was another organization. Mitre was another organization. NIST, it was a database, nvd.nist.gov, where you can find the vulnerabilities reported. You can go for NVD NIST, you can go for Exploit DB, you can go for Mitre, you can go for simple NVD. We have multiple databases for the same vulnerabilities. Right? We were discussing CVSS score, the impact of the vulnerability, how impactful the flaw was.
What are the
CVSS,
categories in version 2.x, low, medium, high?
what are the difference between 2.0 and 3.1?
Yeah. In 3.x, we have none, low, medium, high, and critical, right?
So let me explain a better thing. So in CVSS 3.0, for better explanation, let's use the calculator part. So I can better explain what was the impact or how the CVSS score was calculated. So this was the CVSS 3.0 version you see here. Attack vector, it depends on the network, adjacent, local, or physical. Depending on these categories, all these categories, attack complexity, privilege is required, user interaction, scope, confidentiality, integrity, and availability part. What thing was impacted? CVSS score was identified or calculated, simple. But in CVSS version 2.0, CVSS 2.0, not documentation part. Here's simple base metrics for only these three. Confidentiality, let me zoom it here. Here base metric for confidentiality, integrity, and availability part. Attack vector, access point, and confidentiality, and the authentication. But here attack vector as network, we have confidentiality, and we have privileges as well. So these are just simple criteria for the score. What flow was impacting? So what the source the flow was impacting? Right?
Yes.
So CVSS simply tells you how impactful the flow was. Is it critical? You should release the patch as soon as possible. Is it normal? Is it none? You can release patches after a few times. It was the perfect thing. So on basis of CVSS, you define how impactful the flow was. After this, we started discussing surface vectors of the hackers. So let's start again with the attack vectors for hackers. I hope you have this link. Just download these files.
Siddharth, I have the NetApp protocol and Kali Linux, which is having all the tools installed, and Windows 8 in VM VirtualBox. Is it fine, right?
That's perfect. You can use VirtualBox, you can use VMware. It's up to you. Both were simple software for virtualization part. I hope you can download these tools and you can configure these VMwares and Kali Linux by your own.
Yeah. What is the RAM we need actually for having a practical session?
Kali Linux, you can assign simply 2 GB of RAM. That's sufficient.
Okay.
I'm using Kali with the 2 GB of RAM. Memory 2 GB. That's perfect. You can use 2 GB, you can use 3 GB. It depends on the configuration you have inside your workstation or system. It's up to you. So You can download these tools. You can configure the machines, right? And we will meet tomorrow at the same time at 7:30 from the India.
7:30, right?
In India, it's
Okay.
7:30.
Okay, fine, fine.
So, any doubt, any query till now?
All good actually. Introduction was very good actually.
Okay, then.
We'll go through ourselves. We'll try to evaluate.
Okay. What is a cyber kill chain concept? Cyber kill chain.
Sorry,
Cyber kill chain concept.
Lockheed Martin kill chain.
Cyber kill chain concept.
Cyber kill chain.
Yes. Yes.
So, same thing for Lockheed Martin kill chain. Lockheed Martin kill chain.
Okay. Okay. Can you explain in brief or for 2 to 3 minutes?
All the 5 phases are derived from this Lockheed Martin kill chain. Your five
Yeah,
pages cover all these pages, like
can you explain?
reconnaissance, weaponization, how you will perform the attack, deliver the payload, exploit the machine, and simple things. Installation of any malware if you want a persistent connection. For persistent connection, you can migrate your process, you can deploy some kind of malware, you can deploy some kind of backdoor, you can create some kind of backdoor inside the victim's machine. So the installation part, command and control, whatever objective you have from that machine. You want to use this machine as a bot, you want some kind of data from the machine, whatever the objective you have, just complete the machine, command the machine, and just perform your thing. Actions and objective, thing 7 thing. Lockheed Martin kill chain was actually used for the actual battlefield for wars. Recon, weaponization, delivery. Kill chain was specifically designed for the war part. How one will attack on the victim, not victim, on the opponent. But you can use this for the security as well. You can use this in cyber security as well. This recon, for first phase we have. I hope you remember the 5 phases we have.
Yeah.
Like
Yes, yes.
recon will followed by the scanning part.
Yes. Yes.
Scanning will be followed by
Gain access.
access. Access will followed by the
Maintenance.
maintaining access. You can maintain the access by installing some kind of malware, creating backdoor, and migrating your process. It's up to you what process you follow. And after maintaining its most important phase, clearing tracks to hide your identity. You can go for anything. You can go for the kill chain. You can follow these 5 pages. They both do the same thing. So just configure your machine, download these machines, any level machine. You can download from VulnHub or just download the Kali Linux, install the Kali Linux. I hope you can install it yourself. If you have any query, if you have any error in downloading installation part, then you can ask me tomorrow. Or if you have any doubt, you can ask me right now or you can ask me tomorrow.
Siddharth, can you provide any material so that we will go through it and will prepare for the next session?
So you're not properly audible. I can't hear you.
If you provide any notes or material so that we'll follow up and we'll catch you in the next session.
Okay, some kind of notes, right?
Yeah.
So notes, let me share you the notes then. So I have shared a file in the chat.
Got it. Can we open this Adobe Reader, right? Or
Then you can
anything?
open it in Notepad simple. The simple MD file.
These are the modules, right?
I hope you all get the notes.
Yes, yes.
All good then.
Yeah, we got it.
Okay then. So have a good day and see you tomorrow.
Thanks, Siddharth. Thank you so much.
Thank you, man. Thank you, Siddharth.
You're
Thank you,
welcome, sir.
everyone.
You're welcome.
Even
You're welcome.
yeah, thanks, Vinod Kaur.
Yeah.
Okay, bye bye. See you tomorrow.
Yeah, see you tomorrow.